So I'll turn our attention to our volunteer program and a little bit more about the role that you may be filling. So in addition to our case management services and economic integration employment services that I'll discussed briefly, um, our volunteer services program at Common Point works to bolster the work of our in-house case management staff and employment staff, and really also to increase the network of support surrounding our refugee clients. And our volunteers, really, I can't overstate the really huge and incredible impact they have in our clients' lives. So I'll talk mostly about our individual volunteer support roles, that is career mentorship, ENL, that's English as a New Language, tutors and English conversation partners, interpreters and translators, and accompaniment volunteers. Those are our individual volunteer roles. In addition, volunteers support us with in-kind donations and drives to support refugee families with material needs. We send out a bi-weekly newsletter that includes interesting events happening around the city. We're highlighting staff and volunteer work, and also includes material needs. So as a volunteer, you'll just be plugged into that communication if that's something you'd like to support with. Our volunteer services program also includes our what we call our home program. That's our host organization model of engagement. Congregations, churches, community organizations partner with us to sponsor refugee families. That's financially and in terms of aiding in the resettlement process. If you are a part of a group that you may be interested in getting involved in that, we won't talk about that in this presentation, but absolutely feel free to get in touch after and we can discuss that in more detail if that calls to you. So as I said, through volunteer engagement, Common Point aims to extend the reach of our services and opportunities provided to refugees, enhancing their potential to thrive in their new community. So our volunteers are folks from all different kinds of backgrounds, professional experience around the greater New York City area, who have special skills that they can use to really support refugee families here. Beginning with ENL tutors, our ENL tutors are experienced English tutors that may be either folks with a TESOL certificate who have extensive training to teach English to non-native speakers, or also maybe folks without official certification, but who have extensive experience. That's really because, although actually on our staff there are several people who do have experience in this, we just don't have the capacity to be creating our own curricula for our clients. So these must be people who feel comfortable meeting new students, assessing their language level, and using their experience and skills to create an appropriate curricula. Our ENL tutors meet either one-on-one or in small groups of up to 6 students, generally once a week, occasionally twice a week, and this really depends on the volunteer and client schedules, to work together to support English language skills in speaking, reading, and writing. That is a 2-hour-a-week commitment for a minimum of 5 months. That's generally the case for all of our mentorship and tutoring roles. If that's a concern for you, or if you think that's a time commitment that wouldn't work for you, you can reach out to me separately after this and we can discuss that. And we do have volunteers who work on a little bit of a different schedule. These folks generally meet virtually with clients. That's a product of COVID, and even after we've opened it up to in-person meetings, that's generally what folks have preferred, although we're moving more and more hopefully into in-person meetings again. We've also got English conversation partners as a volunteer opportunity. These are folks who do not need to have any background in teaching English as a second or other language. We have several clients who speak intermediate to advanced English and therefore may not be the appropriate students for a novice or beginner ENL class. However, they're looking to grow their English skills. That may be with a specific goal, like developing more of a professional vocabulary, or that may just be something around like gaining confidence, for example. So we match clients and volunteers one-on-one for weekly conversation partnerships. That can be a really wonderful and rewarding volunteer opportunity. I know of volunteers and clients who have created something that looks like a book club or a TV club, and they're just meeting weekly. They're getting to know each other and they're practicing English, and that's also really valuable to our clients. Many of our volunteers serve as career mentors. Career mentors, I want to say off the bat, are not solely responsible for supporting the employment goals of our clients. Our clients also work with our employment staff for job placement and career development, but our employment staff work with many clients, and our volunteers really help enhance our services by developing a one-on-one relationship with their mentee. These folks meet one-on-one with a client. We do our best to learn a little bit more about our volunteers' professional backgrounds and interests and match with clients who have hopefully a similar career goal or similar background, so that volunteers can best serve their mentees. These folks work to review and build resumes, they write cover letters, conduct mock interviews, search for jobs on jobs boards together, and connect mentees with appropriate professional networks when possible. This is really guided by the client's needs and goals, and volunteers work one-on-one to, support mentees in their stated goals. We can talk a little bit more. We'll talk about volunteer best practices and what that looks like. All right, those three were our sort of mentorship and tutoring roles where volunteers meet weekly with clients. We also have interpretation and translation volunteers. If you speak English fluently and also speak one of our major client languages fluently, those are Spanish, Dari, Pashto, Arabic, Ukrainian, Russian, Asian Creole, and Burmese. We are always in need of interpretation and translation volunteers. These folks either translate documents or interpret generally meetings between clients and Common Point staff, although it may be also for things like either legal or medical appointments. The requirements beyond language are that you feel comfortable reading and relaying sensitive and potentially emotionally challenging content. This is a role that's sort of on an as-needed basis. We have a database of volunteers who speak various languages, and when we have an interpretation or translation need, we email or call those folks, say, are you available in this date and time? And we'll be in touch as needs arise. Finally, we work with accompaniment volunteers. As you may imagine, migrants who have first arrived to the country, to New York City and the surrounding area, may face challenges with transportation to essential appointments, job interviews, things like that. So we have some volunteers who support our clients in getting around. That may be with public transportation, jumping on the bus or the subway, getting to a client and accompanying them using public transportation to their necessary appointment. Or this may be, this is typically outside of the city, although not always. We have volunteer drivers who have a car, sometimes support our clients with rides. And that really is takes a huge burden off of the backs of our clients when they're struggling to navigate to essential meetings and appointments. I'll throw out that volunteer drivers need to complete a driving record check that is a bit sensitive, although we usually don't run into too many issues with that.